And as Crystal Knowles reports, independent and undecided voters are set to be key.
What we're going to do is ask them, have you sent in your mail ballot yet?
Canvassing varies slightly from person to person, but the goal is the same: get one more vote.
We're here today to ask whether or not you have voted yet.
Some people, like Rick Chouette, chair for the Addison Village Democrats, canvasses by rolling up door to door with his entourage.
The people we're talking to now are people that have registered for mail ballots. So we're trying to make sure that they, understand who to vote for and what amendments and judges and everything else.
On the other hand, 89-year-old Orange County Republican Gail Sims has a different approach. She uses her experience as a singer to reach her community.
Stand beside her.
I sang for the then governor, and he later became president, Ronald Reagan. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago when I did canvassing for our governor, I had people ask me to come in and they said, "Would you sing for us?" And I would sing "God Bless America" for them.
Chouette says this year volunteers are more energized, and while on their canvassing rounds, they've spoken to voters who are considering voting across party lines.
This is taking the fight to the streets, so to speak. Instead of just talking about it, we're actually going out and doing things this year.
There is one particular demographic both groups are hoping to sway.
After we win for Donald Trump,
According to USA Facts, a not-for-profit, nonpartisan group that analyzes government data, there are about 32 million registered independent voters, with Florida accounting for roughly 26% of that total.
really what it comes down to is a lot of people have a middle ground, and we need to find what that is so we can deliver for the most voters that we can as possible.
Out of more than 187 million registered voters nationwide, eyes are on the millions of undecided voters.
If we do have opportunities to engage with people and we do it with facts and not emotions, and we listen and let them be heard, then that has been an effect. Not necessarily thousands of votes, because we're not doing thousands of those doors, but when we do have the opportunity, that can change a vote.
First, Crystal Knowles looks at efforts by Latino advocacy groups to increase the participation of Hispanic voters this election.
Door-to-door canvassers with the nonpartisan group Poder Latinx pound the pavement in East Orlando to urge residents to vote.
This is a time to speak up, to actually look for that change that you need in your communities. Because at the end of the day, our votes are our voices when it comes to politics, when it comes to pretty much our lifestyle.
In this neighborhood, many people do not speak English, and some are unaware of their voting rights. Despite that, Alejandro Flores, Florida coordinator for Poder Latinx, says the Hispanic vote is powerful enough to create political change.
It is important because the Hispanic community is the sleeping giant in Florida. We have 3.5 million Hispanics who are allowed to vote in the state, who are legally allowed, they're citizens and they're in voting age. However, in the last elections, only 800,000 Hispanics voted out of the 3 million Hispanics. So it is important to awaken that sleeping giant and let them know, hey, you can make a change.
Luis Elena Armas, who was born in Venezuela, says her goal is to knock on at least 200 doors.
Well, I like to communicate with people first. Serving the community is something I've always done and enjoy. I've been working in this for 4 months. Back in my country, I would do this type of work for my community. I like it.
For Flores, canvassing is a way to unite the Latin American community. Also born in Venezuela, he was forced to leave as life became increasingly dangerous. He started gaining attention as an anti-government activist. His story is not uncommon.
For the dictatorship? I even dare to say like 95% of our team comes from Venezuela, so they understand the importance of really getting people engaged, getting people to vote, because look at the state Venezuela is in right now. It was because of apathy. It was because of people not voting and not being vocal about.
Armas says canvassing is far from glamorous and at times can be a little scary.
There are many people who don't trust, and sometimes they might respond in a rude way, but most people are very receptive.
We had a canvasser who a guy pulled up a gun on her. It was shocking, and thankfully she was okay, she's safe. But this is the kind of stuff that they're facing on a daily basis. I wish I could say like, hey, it's gotten better, like everybody's like welcoming them with open arms. that would be a lie. So this is why we're here, to educate and make sure this doesn't continue to happen.
Crystal Knowles reporting on Get Out the Vote efforts in East Orlando. But first, Crystal Knowles talks with 2 county election supervisors.
I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
Before you can have this, you must have this. Whether you're a seasoned voter or heading to the polls for the first time, there are a few key things you need to know before casting your ballot in Florida this election. A 2021 change to the law means vote-by-mail ballots expire after each general election, or every 2 years. Orange County Supervisor of Elections Glenn Gilzine explains what happens when someone votes by mail.
As you sign up to get your vote by mail, you're also signing up for ballot tracks, and then you get a small little alert on your phone, and it'll let you know when it's been counted or when your ballot has arrived.
For those who prefer casting their ballot in person, early voting is another option. Osceola Supervisor of Elections Mary Jane Arrington says, check your local office for dates and hours.
You can vote early at any of our 9 early voting sites that are located throughout the county. We're going to be open 12 hours a day for 14 days. That's the maximum we can be open by law. We have on our website that you can check to see if there are lines at the location you want to go to. The number one reason for not returning your mail ballot is you don't have a stamp. We've taken care of that.
Recent changes to voting in Florida also mean secure ballot intake stations or drop boxes must be continuously monitored by an employee from the supervisor's office and are only available during specified hours. Meanwhile, it's now a felony in Florida for organizations to collect and turn in voters' completed mail-in ballots in bulk, a practice critics describe as ballot harvesting. The Orange and Osceola County supervisors say they've not seen any recent cases.
I've never seen anyone bring in an armful of ballots. So, I mean, we see people bring in moms and dads and grandmas, but, you can only turn in 2 ballots other than yours and your family's.
Ballot harvesting in the state of Florida is now deemed illegal. The law does dictate that you plus 2 ballots is allowable, but anything beyond that is illegal.
Felon voting rights also remain a live issue this election. In 2018, voters passed a constitutional amendment restoring the rights of most former felons. But confusion in 2022 led to some returning citizens receiving voter registration cards despite being ineligible, triggering legal repercussions.
We have a dedicated staff member to actually sit down with them and then review over their paperwork and make sure that they're in compliance of the law.
The new change in law became effective on April 1st of this year, which led the Orange County Supervisor of Elections to make the designated staff availability as a service to the community.
Being that I'm the former Urban League CEO, I still have my roots here and just working in the community, hearing the concerns, and a lot of the decisions and changes that I'm making is all community-led. These are not Glenn Gilzine-led.
Currently, there's no single platform available for returning citizens to easily check their voter eligibility status.
There is no central clearinghouse in Florida where I can go in and say, this is my name and my social security number. Have I paid all my restitution? We don't have that. Usually we direct voters to go to the clerk of the court in the county in which they were convicted, and often the clerk of the court has records. But each county is different.
Crystal Knowles reporting on just some of Florida's more recent laws impacting the way Floridians can vote this election.